how has diet and lifestyle affected your physicality? And maybe, I don't know if you want to share about the work that you do, your occupation. That's pretty unique and pretty cool.
Yes, yeah, I've noticed changes in my physical life through making these transitions, and some of them, some people might see as disadvantageous. I personally don't, but there have also been things that are just inevitably advantageous. I think the major thing that everybody can expect. Well, I know you're asking me, but I know now I'm speaking in generalities.
Sure,
but
sure.
I think the first thing that everybody can expect from making this transition to a raw living food lifestyle, or in my case, if you wanted to go more the fruit-based style, then either way, you're going to get this advantage, is that your cardiovascular health, not necessarily your cardiovascular endurance, like running endurance, which it does improve. Okay, but I'm saying just the level of cleanliness of your cardiovascular system is going to be very noticeable for anyone and everybody, right? I started noticing that I was doing things like, running up a set of stairs to head back to my apartment, or chasing down a bus or something, or sprinting to, like, whatever. And then all of a sudden, like, you're not tired, or you feel fine. Like, oh my God, what's this? This is new and interesting. I remember the first time I started noticing that I didn't have like a wheezy asthma response to a jog, to like a 15-20 minute jog. When I first started noticing that congestion in my lungs was gone, it was the best feeling in the world. Oh my God. There was something there that really needed to get filtered out, and this lifestyle has done that for me. Okay, so in my I've always been an athlete. I've always been interested in athletics. So I've been a gymnast for a vast majority of my life. Done acrobatics, done parkour, martial arts from the time I was young till now. I always train these elements of my lifestyle. And so that's always been part of me, right? How I live my life. So when I made these changes, I made sure not like I had to discipline myself. I was going to do them regardless of what I was eating, but I just kept doing these things. And this drastic lifestyle change that I underwent, it never stopped me from doing all of the wonderful physical things that I was always accustomed to doing. And that's the important thing to remember.
Yeah.
You're always, as long as you engage in fitness and in activity, you will be active, you will be fit, and you will have a good physical body. But you just do the stuff, and that's what happens. And with what's coming into the system, it's the cleanliness of the system that starts to improve your physicality, right? Now, so what I did this as a drastic change at first is because I had lost a lot of weight, right? So I was losing, initially I lost like 12, 15 pounds almost right off the bat. And then there was a slow, gradual loss of more weight as I went on in my diet. Primarily fruits, sometimes raw leafy greens, raw salads, all that good stuff. So I still did include those, but most everything was fruit. Okay, so that's the diet we're talking about for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
And so I noticed that my initial strength went down. So my bench press numbers went down. I wasn't pressing and deadlifting or squatting as much raw weight. Okay, so all those numbers they went down. All right, okay. Just be very upfront and very straight about that, and made sense to me because I would lost a lot of weight. Now, it's interesting. It's like, why would that be? And because the weight that I'd lost, it felt like just pure waste. So you could imagine, like, okay, well, if I'm losing all of this waste, why would that really change the strength that you had. Like, I mean, if you weren't really losing muscle mass and you're losing the intramyocellular lipids and the acidic poisons that are circulating through the system that get lodged in the body, right? Why would your strength suffer if you're just losing the bad stuff, right? That's a good question. I don't really know how to answer that, or didn't really know how to answer that.
Yeah.
Right? But it turns out that with a very high stimulating diet, so when you're eating lots of cooked foods, and especially if you're in your body as an animal graveyard, right? You're doing that. In that case, you're loading your body with hormones, exogenous animal hormones. And you put hormones, growth hormones, into your body, regardless of whether the animals have been treated with hormones, that injectables or whatnot. This could be a wild roaming free family of chipmunks that you're eating, whatever. It doesn't matter, right? These are animals, so their bodies are laden just hormones 24/7 going through everybody. So you eat those, your body responds by getting exogenous hormones from without. And if you're doing a lot of working out, yeah, it will stimulate your body, stimulate the muscles into growth, because you've got extra hormones flooding through your system. Now, in the absence of that, so let's just say you're already doing a vegan diet, like a regular cooked food vegan diet, okay? The cooked foods now these are coming, this is a bulk of nutrition coming in. And a lot of it is difficult for your body to deal with, because it has been denatured, it has been cooked, it has been processed in some way, so it's no longer the living entity it was before. So in order to deal with all of that, I'll just call it processed food. I mean, what your definition for processed food is, if you've heated a food and cooked it to beyond belief, it's a processed food, right?
Yeah.
So it's coming into your system. And what does your body have to do in order to deal with this very weird looking foreign material? It has to really ramp up the metabolism, and ramp up the energy production in order to deal with all of these poisons. So what I imagine is happening here is that because the character of the food that you're eating is no longer stimulating, metabolically activating, right? It's driving your metabolism wild, so that it has to deal with that. Okay, now the nature of what I'm eating is calm, right? It's just living foods. All the enzymes and the digestive enzymes and all the phytonutrients and phytochemicals, these are all part and parcel of the food that you're eating. They haven't been steamed or cooked or baked out of it or changed in some way. So now they're all coming in, and your body doesn't have to be as metabolically excited or active in order to deal with that. So you live with like that for months and months and months on end. What I imagine is happening is because your metabolism, your metabolic level of excitation has drastically gone down, and the waste is poured out of the muscles, and you're losing weight. And for many people, that's our problem. So that's a good thing. Yeah. And in terms of physicality and exercise, I think that's what's happening. You're noticing a general decrease in the level of rampant excitability in your whole body, in your muscle tissues and whatnot. And it translates to, at first, raw strength and raw power, right?
Yeah.
And so if we want to consider that a disadvantage, then we can. I didn't see it as a disadvantage because my lifestyle I'm not a bodybuilder. I don't need outrageous levels of strength to function in my life. So I had to, try to rationalize and recognize this. And as much as we have this thing where being in a huge, big, buff body is something that's desirable. I had to make a choice. I'm like, what is important, Eli, in your life? Is the physicality more important than the health that underlies those tissues, that lies behind those big biceps and big, what's more important, Eli? And so my answer was health, wellness, my spirituality. These are far, far more important to me than what the world believes I should look like. And so I just made that choice and I ran with it. So over the time now, over years, oh my gosh, there are some things that I'm doing that I could never do before. You know, improvements in my flexibility and my joint, the pliability and the lack of aches and pains that I thought would never leave. There was an ache in my neck that I carried with me forever. It never stopped me from doing anything, but it was just always there. I thought this thing was never going away. There was no rehab, no striking, no massaging, nothing got rid of this thing. Wow. And it was only after this lifestyle that this ache finally went away. It was, I couldn't turn my head all the way to my left. Without pain. I couldn't do it without pain. Sure. And then one day I noticed that it was gone. And I'm like, oh my God. Now, is it just a coincidence that it just happened to disappear? And now when I've made these drastic changes to what goes into my body, no, it was not a coincidence. I'm sorry. So yeah, so all of these wonderful things that happen to you, and I was still able to be physically active. I'm still doing all my calisthenics. I do hand balancing, like push-ups, acro. I'm still doing flips and twists when I go to train at the gym, sometimes just for fun, because it's fun. Yeah, all of these things I still do to this day. And I don't see myself stopping at any time soon. And it's wonderful. So you can be just as physically active, just as physically fit, just as, look just as good, right? But it's different. It's just different than what you had before. It is different. Expect a difference. If a difference frightens you, then maybe what you want is some sort of compromise. You want to follow the health protocols to some degree, and then make your departures depending on what you're ready to do. So maybe that's the choice. You hear this all the time. Hey, Eli, I want to get healthier. I want to get well, but I don't want to lose a stitch of weight. What do I do? I'm like, I don't, I'm the right ass. I can't help you. It's like, what do you do? Like, so you can try, you can make compromises and you try to adjust and tailor what the right approach is so that you don't lose sickness. Like I'll call weight and sickness similar things. Like they're synonymous, all of them, because you're literally losing latent sickness. You're losing latent sickness from your body when you go on this lifestyle. And it's an interesting battle. How do I stop losing weight with and still do that stuff? Yeah, how do you answer that question?
Yeah. I know. I think
Vivian Bloom tiene todos los ingredientes naturales que tu bebé necesita.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. And when I think about people that want to not lose any weight, but still, transform their health and their bodies. I saw on one of your videos that you talked about, the body doesn't build on a faulty foundation, so you want to make sure that you're giving your body a chance to clean out all that toxicity. And that's going to require, some weight loss because, toxins get stored in our fat tissue. And so if you have things built up and you want to truly build, a truly healthy body, you got to allow that to release so that you can build on a solid, healthy foundation. And so, it's one of those things where, people have to just make a decision for themselves on how big of a transformation they want to achieve and then make the compromises from there. So
that's it. Yeah, that's it. That foundation is so important. You can build a temple with crummy materials.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to buy cheap, crummy nonsense materials, then you can load that onto your foundation, and your foundation will get bigger, faster because it's easier to load up all of these nonsense materials. Yeah, you could do that, but then the temple, the house, is built on lower quality material. Might fall apart, might have some problems here or there. But so you strip all of that, right? You might not build as big a temple or as massive, like literally physically massive a temple. But if you only put in high quality material, then you'll get a high quality temple that lasts you much, much longer than the temple that's built out of, silly putty, camel feces, and, sourdough or something. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.